All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming again. And I'd like to take a moment and really thank Barbara Rao for being here with us today. I've known Barbara for a fair number of years. She's currently an educational specialist at ICRC, but here today, I've asked her to come and just speak as a physiotherapist, as somebody who's been involved in many different parts of the world and in different capacities. So Barbara, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Mike. It's good to talk to you again.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I've kind of explained a little bit here. So we have three kind of questions that we ask everybody and gives us a sense for comparison almost. But the first question is just in your own viewpoint, what are the opportunities and threats for physiotherapy over the next 5 to 10 years? And you can look at that as at the global level or a regional level, but just really interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think I will take it on a global level. And I think we have really a rare opportunity to be able to take also a leading role in the recognition of not only physiotherapy in the rehabilitation world, but also the recognition to improve the recognition of rehabilitation within the health system. So I think we are at a kind of not turning point because there were turning points before, but I think there is a good drive and a good move towards better recognition and understanding. Before the recognition, you have the understanding of our profession and of rehabilitation in general. So that's for the opportunities I think we have.
Mhm. So you're saying sort of people know what PT physio is now. So sort of there's a recognition that it kind of plays a role, which is funny that that's even something that we imagined 10 years ago. That was one of our battles. It's like, so people even knew who we were. And now there's that recognition. So I think it's an excellent point.
I think we still have to improve that people really know and understand what is physiotherapy and the right spectrum of what we can do and the population we are involved, the people we can be involved in. But at least, yes, I think there's a better knowledge and we are better positioned than other rehabilitation professions. Yeah, I think so.
And what would you say avec les menaces, the threats ahead? What would you say to that one?
So that's a bit more tricky question. It was I thought about this a bit, not only preparing the interview but also in general. I think one of the threat or menace, yeah, it's if physiotherapists focus too much on their personal or on their own professional battles or approaches or concerns or challenges, etc. And I think sometimes we have it's maybe because I'm getting older, we have to really realize that okay, we address specific problems. I'm always taking the example of hamstrings, okay, hamstring strength and hamstring length and ligament croisé antérieur, etc., sports injuries. But I think we have to, the threat is that if we don't recognize the population needs related to rehabilitation and to physiotherapy, then I think we miss a bit the train. And I think really we are really in a very good position to be able to be next to the persons, next to the people, next to the patients, the service user, or their families from day one after injury or the onset of an illness, to finally them being reintegrated into society, going back to school, going back to work, going back to their retired life of being retired. I'm sorry, my English is still not good. So I think we have this opportunity to really treat all kinds of people or patients or service user, and not only focus and concentrate on one specific domain or problem or issue or whatever. And
Mhm.
yeah.
It sort of reminds me well, it's not too long ago, but the American Physical Therapy Association sort of rebranded their I think their mission statement, and they talk about the human experience.
Yeah,
It's not the impairment,
yeah,
sort of, and it's not even the ICF model. It sort of
yeah,
looks at a population because we kind of interact with the population, and this thread of conversation actually came up with Joost van Wichen recently, because he's on the board for the Environmental Physiotherapy Association.
yeah.
So it's sort of, the interesting thing is how does let's say changes in the environment affect we as PTs, but how does it affect the patients we treat, you know? And
Mm,
as we talk now across Africa and different parts of the world with changes to the environment, we have populations on the move.
yeah, yeah.
This
No,
is
no, that's why I like talking to you, Mike, because you're very well read, as one can say. But it's true. I mean, I think the future generation has to really. I mean, I was part of the generation who worked on the ICF, and we were struggling not looking at the person or patient like just like on the knee, etc., and the environment, and we had to take. But now we have to look even bigger. And I hope we will have the resources also to do so, because we need to be actors and we need to talk with policymakers at different levels, etc. Yeah, yeah, right.
Well, yeah, that's I kind of in my, even the different parts of my campaign, I talk about how we position ourselves to be change makers for tomorrow,
Yeah, exactly.
not yesterday, but the tomorrow. And okay, so
Yeah.
let's go to our second question here, which is, I'll just read it out. What was the most significant event in your professional life that led you to your thoughts and even your roles today?
The event or the events?
Oh, let's go with one or two major events.
Okay, one or two. Okay. So one or two, I will take two examples or three linked to WP because it's a WP campaign. One really significant event, which look for some of which might seem really ridiculous or completely normal, was the translation of the PT word material in foreign language, meaning other than English, because at one point of time, I think it was kind of taken for granted that everybody speaks English or reads English, more or less, but still. And when suddenly, I mean, when the material was translated in French, in Spanish, I was like, oh, thanks God, because many people in this world, even if they are not the majority, even if they are not those who we can see in the congresses, we can listen to in podcasts, or we can read in the scientific literature, they are also physiotherapists and they need the material. And you know how difficult it can be to translate a material. So this was a very good memory. Second memory was linked to WP. Is it really? I was part of the scientific committee in Amsterdam, and giving me the opportunity of being part of the scientific committee, even though I was not a leading member of Physio Swiss, because I'm Swiss, or I didn't have a strong academical background. I was completely aware of this. I didn't have the CV most of the other people in the committee had, but and thank you for this. I think it allowed me also to bring in the perspective of a normal PT. Well, I'm a clinician, I'm an educator, project manager, and I did some research. So, but also to represent the perspective of the physiotherapist working and living in low and middle countries. And so this, thank you very much to WP to have given me the opportunity and trusting me, to do the job. And finally, last but not least, there's another third good memory. It was the signature of the acceptance of the Palestine member Physiotherapy Association as the member organization of WP, and the signature between Jonathan Kruger and the president of this Palestine Association. Because behind this, often people don't forget people forget that it's a long process. And for the two first best memories, I really would like to thank Tracy, Brenda, and Rachel. And for this one, of course, Jonathan also, because these people are sometimes in the back. I mean, not Brenda, but Tracy, Rachel, and Jonathan. Jonathan is not at the back too, and it's a huge work to get to a stage that a profession, that an association becomes a member organization. Then there's a challenge of this association to remain and to be active as a member association. But the first step is to get in. And so when I saw Jonathan shaking hands with the president of the Palestine Association, I was like, oh, well, we did it. It was years of efforts.
Yeah. I was speaking with Van, who is I think she's the vice president of the Vietnamese PT Association, and they will be inducted in Dubai in a few weeks.
Okay, yeah.
The absolute joy, right, in the excitement of walking in there with their flag.
Yeah.
Is one of those momentous events. It really is. And I even, I remember in Amsterdam, I think it was when the Benin Association was conducted, and it just those amazing moments. And I'll put a lot of emphasis on what you said about the staff at WP, and even going through the pandemic. The board, the staff, I mean, have taken us into, nobody ever asked to be a leader during a pandemic, right? A global pandemic. And so I think you're absolutely right. They all deserve the accolades.
Yeah, and it's not only, of course, there is a role, role de secrétaire, but some signatures can really, of some countries, can really boost the recognition, the confidence, and also have some impact on other levels, which we maybe don't think about, like the political level, the social level, boost other activities like sports for people with disabilities, etc. Just this signature and this recognition. So, no, good moments. I'm looking forward to have the Vietnamese also part soon.
That's really amazing. So our last question, because I don't want to take too much of your time here, but the last question is fun. It's if you could go back in time, what kind of advice would you give your newly graduated self? As sort of looking back with all this experience now, what would you say to yourself when you just graduated?
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking the first Congress I went to was in 99, yes, in Yokohama, in Japan. Yeah, I was then very young. And so I was the young, and now I'm the old one. Life continues and passes quickly.
Experience.
So experience, yeah. So the first advice would be like, be curious. Be curious, because we are in a profession where there's so much happening. I mean, you can always remain and do what you were taught to do when you were doing your bachelor or your master's level, but there's so much more. So be curious. The second advice would be respectful. Be respectful for those who have been here before, for those who work alongside next to you, because we always need to work in partnerships, multidisciplinary, etc. And I thought about something. Never forget what I learned when I did my master's degree, so not at my bachelor level. Never forget the three components of evidence-based practice, because often, more and more, or sometimes, I don't know, we think about the literature, the scientific literature. Okay, it's good, we need to. But there's always also the expert's opinion, and this shouldn't be looked over. I mean, we have to, sometimes you don't have the literature which relates to your specific patients or to your specific context. So the expert's opinion, be critical, but consider the expert's opinion. And then the third point we sometimes still forget, and even in Geneva, is the patient's or the family preferences. And since years, we have been teaching students and physiotherapists and other professionals to think and don't forget the patient's preferences. And yet I have examples on my personal level, family level or friends level where I think, my goodness, still we are not asking what is your need or what is your wish or what do you need. It's yeah, I just said need. There's a fourth level. You are the specialist in the economical approach. I'm not going to get into that. I know there is this level, but that's not really my expertise. And there's coming back here, because now I have the role of the old one. I always remember three people who told me the same thing. There's Mrs. or Dr. Shomwei Cook, who, and Rob Deby also, and Liz Holly, who were teachers, researchers, book writers, clinicians, etc. And they all told me, never forget you were, first of all, a PT, a physiotherapist. And you chose, when you chose your profession, you chose to become a physiotherapist. You didn't choose to become the high-level researcher or the high-level or the well-recognized educator. You chose to be a physiotherapist. And I'm quite happy that I still have this view. I'm not an expert clinician anymore, but I still have this identity, which I'm proud of, to be a physiotherapist. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, those are excellent. I think back to Liz Holy. I think I know that she eventually worked a bit with you. She worked with World Physio elsewhere, but
She still does, huh? She's retired, but she still does. She's active.
I think I would like to take some credit. I think I introduced her to you.
Can be, yeah, can be, yeah. Can very well be.
Didn't we do a conference or some sort of meeting? I can't remember, but Liz Holy is one of those special people out there who
yeah, I remember. You are right. Yeah.
There was that point in time. Yeah. So well, listen, so these are amazing messages. One of the points I'd like to maybe just again place some emphasis is maybe mentorship.
Yeah.
And that's so even in my career, I can look back to identify certain people, and they might not have been a mentor for long. It could have been just, but they kind of reorient you. And as we believe, or we look towards new associations coming in, like Vietnam, and even more those with more experience, we only get better together. We're one, but we're different. And so if we start to hold each other and move us all in one direction, I think we'll be in a wonderful spot as we seek the future.
No, you're right. And I'm happy you finished the discussion with mentorship, because it's mentorship, it's individual mentorship, but it's also mentoring. Institutional mentorship can happen. Can also be considered, or even regional mentorship, or so it's at different levels. But yes, I think we are stronger together. That's everybody says so, but I think it's true.
Well, we'll leave it at that. And Barbara, thanks so much for your time, and we look
You're welcome.
in a few weeks in Geneva. Or sorry, in Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe in Geneva again also.
Geneva is over.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.